wabarakatuh. Saya Ashraf Zahiruddin bin Zulkarnain dari Kos Psikologi Sukan S20. Hari ini saya akan menerangkan tentang pengurusan stres dalam sukan. Stres merujuk kepada perasaan negatif seseorang individu yang dialaminya ketika melakukan sesuatu. Ia berbeza mengikut tahap ketahanan individu. Perasaan negatif ini wujud sama ada dalam aspek kemurungan, kesedihan dan kelesuan seseorang individu tersebut. Apa itu stres? Stres dapat didefinisikan sebagai suatu reaksi yang tidak spesifik oleh tubuh badan seseorang ke atas tekanan yang diterima. Hans Selye 1983 menyatakan bahawa stres adalah tindak balas tubuh badan yang tidak spesifik terhadap kehendak yang dikenakan ke atasnya. Antara cara untuk menangani stres adalah mengamalkan gaya hidup yang sihat, mengambil makanan yang seimbang dan melakukan aktiviti fizikal. Stres mempunyai 3 aspek utama, iaitu stres positif, stres negatif dan stresor. Stres positif merupakan satu tekanan yang dihadapi oleh seseorang yang mengakibatkan seseorang itu bertindak dalam keadaan positif. Manakala stres negatif mengakibatkan seseorang itu bertindak dalam keadaan negatif. Manakala stresor akan mengakibatkan satu rangsangan terhadap fisiologi, fizikal dan psikologi. Jika seseorang atlet itu gagal untuk menangani stres, pastinya akan meninggalkan kesan terhadap atlet tersebut. Antaranya adalah kemerosotan prestasi, kekurangan tidur dan obesitas. Stres tidak dapat dicegah dan dielakkan. Oleh itu, strategi pengurusan stres amat penting kepada atlet untuk strategi pengurusan stres. Yang pertama, latihan pernafasan mendalam.
Keluarkan nafas anda, tarik nafas dalam perlahan dan lembut. Tahan dalam kiraan 5 dan lepaskan perlahan melalui mulut. Latihan ini akan membuatkan bahagian bahu dalam keadaan rileks. Ia juga memberi peluang anda menikmati satu pemikiran yang positif.
Yang kedua adalah relaksasi ringkas.
Aktiviti ini sesuai dijalankan jika anda sibuk dan tidak mempunyai masa yang cukup. Cukup sekadar anda mempunyai kawasan yang selesa dan luas.
Ketiga adalah percakapan kendiri.
Percakapan kendiri ialah satu pernyataan mudah yang ditujukan kepada diri sendiri. Ia sangat efektif dilakukan secara personal, positif dan dalam bentuk ayat aktif.
Dan akhir sekali adalah preskripsi stres.
Preskripsi stres menghendaki anda mengenal pasti stresor yang mungkin membuatkan anda stres dalam aktiviti seharian.
Stress and performance. We know that athletes probably have an optimal level of stress. So too little and they become bored, too much and they become overexcited, if you like, too stressed to perform well. So we think that athletes need to have an optimum level of stress. How to achieve that yet we don't know exactly because there's very little intervention research in this specific area. We aim to find out the ways that athletes cope with stress, the way they think about stress, and how effective their coping strategies were. Clearly this is a really complicated area, it's hard to measure and it's a highly subjective area dependent on the individual. So we used a method to try and illuminate some of those complexities. The method we used was daily diaries, which involved athletes recording every day for 28 days their stressful experiences, if you like. So the stresses they experienced, the coping strategies they used, and how effective those strategies were, along with the way they evaluated the stress. One of the stresses that was reported was a change to the sports rules, so a change in the attire that athletes or swimmers are allowed to wear. And the athletes often spoke about using either one coping strategy, like changing the way they were thinking about it, or using 2 or more, so trying to relax, using positive self-talk and things like that in combination to try and cope with that one stressor. The 13 national standard swimmers that volunteered to take part in the study completed the diaries, and really what we found was that coping is a hugely complex phenomenon, and they weren't just reporting one coping strategy to deal with a stressor, but often they were reporting 2, 3, 4 or 5 coping strategies to try and deal with one stressor at a time. So that was a really interesting finding, the complexities of it, and the fact that they reported 78 different coping strategies over a period of a month. We also looked at the kind of relationships between appraisal and coping, which was really interesting and suggested that actually there isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. It's about the individual and how they cope most effectively. In terms of the effectiveness of coping strategies, we found that self-reliance, or relying on yourself, is the most effective way. So that includes things like positive self-talk, relaxation, and encouraging yourself in some way to try and overcome the stress that you're experiencing. So if I had 3 top tips, the first one would be rely on yourself and try and relax, try and solve the problem, and draw on the social support that you have around you.
When it gets to that level, it can stop us from getting on with our lives or doing the things we love, like playing cricket. We at the PCA take stress-related illnesses very seriously, and we want to raise awareness of them. Our aim is to help our members prevent them when possible, or seek help in the early stages if not. We want to build a culture that acknowledges that it's okay not to be okay. As part of this initiative, we have teamed up with a talented group of clinicians and software developers to offer stress-free to our members. This app teaches you to practice 4 different relaxation techniques, which have all shown to be effective in clinical trials. These can help de-stress when anxiety is getting on top of us, but they can also help us become more resilient to stress in general. Meditation in particular can help build our ability to cope with stress. In the same way that we train our bodies really seriously, Stress-free encourages you to practice relaxation skills frequently and to build your resilience.